All right, let's get right into today's explainer. We are deconstructing a wild narrative today, one known as the highest rank. The core premise here? Imagine an ancient secret society has been watching you, yes you, only to realize that your soul actually outranks anything they've ever come across. Let's jump right into how this incredible cosmic story unfolds.
Have you always felt like you were just built differently? The source material is incredibly clever in how it hooks you right from the start. It grounds itself in the completely mundane, like making your morning coffee or scrolling on your phone. But then it validates a very specific, deeply personal feeling, that quiet, low hum of isolation. It essentially asserts that this isn't just your run-of-the-mill loneliness. No, it's actually a signal. Okay, let's dive into this. Notice the framing here. The source uses this intense, second-person, direct-address style that immediately builds this mythic tension. It claims an ancient group of energy manipulators is watching you, deliberately and specifically. They aren't just casually observing either. They're studying you the exact way someone watches when they already know the answer.
So how exactly does this society operate? Well, curiously enough, these ancient energy manipulators seem to run on a very tight, almost corporate standard operating procedure. When they find disruptive energy, they deploy this exact generation-spanning playbook: identify, contain, redirect, and neutralize. It's essentially a cosmic HR policy designed specifically to keep people perfectly in their assigned boxes.
And this brilliantly illustrates their mindset. Imagine the world as a massive art gallery filled with prints, just copies of copies. That is exactly how the society views most manageable souls. But then, a researcher brushes away the dust and finds you, not a copy, an original Da Vinci. This is the exact moment the watchers freeze, realizing everything they know about value has to be completely rewritten.
Right, so because you're this unmanageable original, the society actually moves against you. And we aren't just talking about metaphors here. We're talking about tangible, real-world roadblocks, sudden financial walls, broken relationships, or suspiciously timed health scares. The strategy? Well, they want to keep you fighting 1,000 small fires so you stay contained, distracted, and entirely unaware of your true nature. But here is the major turning point of the whole narrative. Their standard containment formula? It simply didn't work on you. Instead of breaking or staying in your assigned box, you unconsciously engaged in spiritual alchemy. You literally took that targeted pain, the grief, the chaos, and you involuntarily transmuted it into profound clarity. You bypassed their strategy entirely by basically turning their attacks into your own power.
And this resilience, it causes sheer panic. The society digs deep into their playbook, unleashing desperate, sophisticated forces that have historically taken down genuinely extraordinary people. They were absolutely certain this would finish you off. But it spectacularly backfires. You didn't just survive the unsurvivable, you actually emerged more awake and more rooted in yourself than ever before.
Which brings us to a really profound metric: 0. No way, right? The society's entire power structure depends on them sitting right at the very top. But when they finally measure your frequency, they get a 0. Their entire system simply doesn't have a number or a rank for you. You don't fit in their hierarchy because your soul's lineage predates their entire framework. I mean, it's completely off the charts. Remember that quiet isolation we talked about earlier? Well, the source introduces the concept of the kiln fire to reframe it. That lifelong feeling of accidental loneliness wasn't a flaw. It was actually a protective mechanism. It literally kept you from being diluted by earthly societal systems. According to the narrative, you were placed in the intense heat of a kiln to forge unshakable, God-tier strength in absolute private. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the power dynamic completely flips. In the crumbling old-world architecture, the society sits at the top, ruling from the shadows through accumulated knowledge and legacy. But in the new reality, your soul sits at the top. Authority isn't earned through their ranks anymore. It's dictated by your inherent, unearned, divine rank.
This all builds to a highly dramatic climax, claiming, "You are the sun. Without your light, there are no shadows to cast." It's a wildly powerful visualization. The society's power is exposed as entirely theoretical when they're in the presence of the actual source of light. They've spent centuries secretly managing the dark, but encountering you leaves them completely disoriented. Their whole operating model just shatters.
Pulling this all together, the source provides some incredibly deep psychological validation. The intense attacks you faced, they weren't a sign of weakness. They were solid proof of your undeniable threat level. The Watchers aren't targeting you now, they are studying you frantically and reverently. It's a masterful way to reframe personal trauma into a victorious, esoteric hero's journey, concluding that your presence alone rewrites the cosmic hierarchy, and you simply cannot be defeated by earthly systems.
The entire goal of this explainer is to radically shift your perspective. It offers profound comfort by framing you as an absolutely unshakable force. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought. If this hidden reality were true, how would it change the way you view your deepest struggles? Think about how powerful it is to reframe your past, not as random chaos, but as the exact fire that forged something entirely unbeatable.